let's have the bottoms of the feet together and the knees out to the side. So we start in our bound angle pose, opening the hips, and we'll have the palms facing up. So everything is really open, and maybe just close your eyes and sense into how it feels to be this open and in so many ways that we're not even aware of. We move through life protecting ourselves and in some ways closing off. And so then when we find ourselves in these really open positions, it can feel a little scary. I'm not saying it does, but just to notice how it feels to be this vulnerable. And then similarly, when we breathe deep, it also can be a vulnerability that we're not used to. So we're really letting ourselves expand and feel and open fully to life, which is really not something any of us do. None of us breathe the full capacity of our breath as we move through life. So it's a little bit of a challenge, and we can just pay attention to whether that feels good, whether that feels neutral, whether that feels hard. And we just practice opening in these ways through our stretching, through our breathing, so that it becomes less habitual to close and more comfortable to open and move through life fully awake. Fully expanded. Go, just like each breath. Maybe feeling into the ends of that deep inhale and just seeing where that registers in the body and how that feels. The ends are most surely the places that don't usually open and breathe. Those last little sips of air, finding new places to open. And it's okay if it's not easy and if it's not comfortable. And if you're doing it in spite of it being hard, in spite of it being uncomfortable, then that's great. Celebrate that. And then we'll lift the knees back up and lift the feet up to the height of the knees. And then pull the belly in and feel the lower back pressing into the ground. And continue to press the lower back into the ground as you slowly lower one foot down. Knee doesn't bend any more than the starting position. Really work, alternate legs, really work to keep the lower back pressing into the ground because you can see it'll want to rise up as the foot comes down. Faster isn't better. Almost never is, really. Are you coordinating the movement with your breath? It's often helpful. Let's do one more on each side. And when you're done, you can pull your knees to your chest and just let everything relax. So, this next exercise may bother your lower back if you don't put your hands underneath your lower back. That will make it, but you'll still feel it if your hands are there. And you want to feel it in terms of the muscles working, but not in terms of the back aching. So if you're concerned about your back aching, just have your hands below. Good. So here we're just gonna inhale and straighten the legs and exhale and pull the knees in. And inhale out, exhale. You can move a little faster if you want to, but there's no need to. And coordinate it with the breath. Experiment with lowering the feet a little bit. So when you extend, bringing them closer to the floor or having them be higher up. It's different muscles, and you'll just see if you go too high, then it's kind of all in your legs and not in your. So go like this. Uh, just experiment and find the sweet spot that works you just the right way. 2 more. And then hug the knees in. Maybe it'll feel nice to just rock a little bit side to side. Just massage your back a little bit, side to side. Good. And then we'll rock upward. And let's come right onto hands and knees. Let's move the spine from side to side, sending the hips to the left and curling them up toward the shoulder and look. And then sending the hips to the right, curling them up toward the right shoulder, looking over the right shoulder. Okay. And then come back to center. We'll take it to the side even more, walking the hands over to the right. Go as far as you can, keeping the hips roughly over the knees. Take a deep breath in and press the left hand down into the ground. And then exhale, see if you can go even further. And then reach your right hand back. Maybe you can take hold of your right heel. Maybe you can even take hold of your left heel. If you don't reach either heel, just grab hold of your leg. And then every time you inhale, press down strongly with the left hand. And then exhale, pull into it with the right hand. Breathe the whole breath in. Notice how if you continue that breath, there's more expansion and more space. And then maybe you can go a little deeper. Good. And release and come back around to the front and over to the other side. First, going as far as you can go. Breathing in, pushing down into that right hand. And then exhale, see if you can go a little further. And then reach the left hand back for the left heel, or maybe the right heel, or maybe just the left leg. Continuing to push down into the right hand as you inhale. And then pulling a little with the left hand as you exhale. Take that inhale to the end of its capacity. And release, come back to center. And then we'll drop the hips down and realign the wrists up under the shoulders. As always, you can come onto fists if the wrists are sensitive. And we want the hips dropped so that there's a straight line from the knees to the crown of the head. So it's a modified plank. If you're feeling particularly strong and want, but we are going to do a bunch of kind of yoga push-ups. So you might want to just start on the knees, and we're going to bend the elbows close to the body and lower down and push up and lower down and push up. And next time you come down, we'll stay down, hovering above the ground in Chaturanga Dandasana, holding here, breathing. Good. And then release down. Bring the bottoms of the feet together, laying on your belly, knees out to the side, bottoms of the feet together. Forehead. Then start to move the inner ankles down toward the ground while pressing the tailbone down. While breathing deep and slow. Good. And then keeping your feet as they are, keeping your elbows tucked in by your ribs, push yourself back up. Let the feet come down. Curl the toes, straighten the legs. Find your downward dog. Spread the fingers wide and push forward into all 10 fingers, lengthening the hips back as you inhale, pressing the heels down as you exhale. And we're going to hold downward dog for a long time. So really work with refining the pose. We're going to have the time, and you can really feel how the inhale helps you lengthen the spine. Exhale, pushing down the heels. Check in with the shoulders, rolling them down the back. See if all 10 fingers are pressing into the ground. Let your heart sink down, your head drop. And lift the left leg up. Exhale, step it up between the hands. And then bring yourself up. Keep the back heel off the ground. Good. And then we'll interlock the thumbs and send the arms up. And then pull the thumbs apart. Pull the hands apart. Keep sinking the hips down. Press the heel back. Can you feel the breath in your chest? Pushing back through the heel while scooping the tailbone under. Make sure your back foot is facing forward and your back knee is facing forward. Good. Now we'll bring that back heel onto the ground. Open. One, two. Sink down. Drop both hips down. Drop both shoulders down. And turn your belly to the right and your gaze to the left. We don't want to be leaning into it. Find your weight evenly distributed between the. Beautiful. Straighten your left leg. Take a breath in. Expand down to the sides. And exhale with your left arm down. Bringing the right arm up. Gazing at your thumb. And then bring your left buttock under you. And that'll help line your ribs up over your thigh. So you don't want the butt behind you and then the torso in front of you. You want everything in one plane. And then as you inhale, reach the right fingers to the sky. And then as you exhale, just sink down. Let the right ribs drop toward the left ribs. Good. And then bend that front knee. Bring the hands to the ground. Step back into plank and hold plank, lifting your belly up to support your back. You can always modify plank by having the knees on the ground, but then make sure that your hips are down and in line with your knees. Good. And then we'll lower into Chaturanga. If you can do it with your knees off the ground, do it. If not, bring the knees to the ground, lowering with the elbows close in by your side, and then pushing into the hands. And then if the knees were off the ground, flipping onto the tops of your feet, coming into upward dog. If your knees are on the ground, then bring your pelvis onto the ground too, and just take roll your shoulders back and in toward each other. And take your gaze up. If you're in upward dog, push into your hands more and try to lift your thighs off the ground more. And then curl the toes, come to downward facing dog. If you're needing a child's pose instead, that's always an option. You listen to your own body and give it what it needs. But also distinguish between what it needs and what it wants. Sometimes we want to rest, sometimes we want to do nothing when doing something might serve us better. Sometimes doing nothing serves us better, and resting is what's really, really helpful. So just check in. Is it laziness or is it skillfulness? Okay. Now, if you were in child's pose, join us in downward dog. In the right leg, and then exhale and step the foot forward. We'll keep the back heel lifted and the back foot facing forward, and press yourself up. And then I apologize, I didn't ask you to remember which way you hooked your thumbs, but just go to whichever one feels natural to you and then do the other way. Opposite thumb on the outside, and then take the arms up. Really kick back through that back heel. Bend deeply into the front knee. Sink your hips. Press your left thigh back and pull your hands apart. Check in with that back foot that it's facing forward, not angled. Just a few more breaths here. Okay, and then the back heel comes down. The arms come out to the sides, shoulder height. And the palms can be down or the palms can be up. The traditional expression of the pose is down, but I prefer up because it feels more open in my chest. See what works for you. Sink down through the hips. Check that front knee. It has a tendency in this pose to want to collapse in. You want to be able to look down and see your first two toes on the inside of the knee. And then also check to see that you're not leaning forward. It's a really grounded, steady, solid pose. All the warrior poses are really stabilizing, really grounding. And if you're leaning forward or back, then you're off balance. You're not grounded. Somewhere and push you and you'll fall. This is a posture that really sinks into the ground and is super stable. So see if you can feel that in both of your feet. The belly is left, the gaze is right. So you're gazing out into the future without leaning into it. Nice and straight. Nice deep breath in and reach out to both hands. And then exhale and reach out through the right arm. First foot, left arm. We roll the gaze up to the left thumb. And inhale and reach up through the left hand. And then exhale and sink down through the right hand and let the left ribs drop toward the right ribs. Feel the rise and fall of your breath, expanding and relaxing, maybe sinking a little more. Good. And then bend the front knee, bring both hands to the ground, step back into plank. And I'm going to take it over into a side plank. So we're going to first roll over onto the right foot. And if you need to bring your right knee down to modify, you can either leave the left foot on the ground in front of you, or if you're able to stack it on top of the right foot, do so. And then we'll take the left arm up. And then today I want to do this variation where we reach the arm overhead and really lengthen through the side body. And if you have the foot stacked on top of the other foot, then you can also maybe reach that left foot out past the right foot so that you're creating even more length through the left side. And let's come back into plank and take it over to the other side. Modifying as you do, starting with the arm up and then bringing it overhead, reaching out long through the fingers and possibly through that foot if the feet are stacked. Long, slow breaths. Good. And then let's all come into plank. Bring the knees down. We'll take a child's pose, folding the arms alongside the body, letting the head rest on the ground. The breath fills into the body, widens across the back, and sinks you down into the legs. Feel the pose from the inside, fully inhabiting it. And then bring the hands under the shoulders. And lift yourself up to stand on the knees. And left hand comes to the belly, right hand comes to the chest. And closing it, feeling the breath from the belly to the chest. And then bring the left hand back to the left heel. If you don't reach the heel, curl the toes under and see if maybe you can reach it then. And if you still don't, just bring the hand to the hip. And if you do reach the heel, really lean back into the hand. Let your weight surrender to that heel. Drop your head back if that's okay for you. Keep breathing into the chest. And then take the arm up and back. Feel the expansion of the body. Notice if it feels good, if it feels scary, if it feels neutral, if it's uncomfortable, if it's pleasant, just check in and stay with it, whatever it is. Know that it's not going to kill you. It might frighten you. Bring the right hand back to the heart. Lift yourself up, bring the left hand back to the belly. Drop the chin to the chest. And change the hands. Reach the right hand at the heel or the hip if you don't reach the heel. Drop the head back if that's okay on your neck. And feel the breath coming into that left hand. Because often when we're in these kinds of positions, we don't breathe the chest. So we keep it, then we'll release the arm up and back. See if we can continue to breathe into the heart. Stay with how it feels. Breathe with it. And bring the hand back to the chest. Lift yourself back up. Bring the other hand back to the belly. And then bring the hands to the ground. Knees are hip width apart. We're going to tuck the chin and bring the top of the head as close to the knees as possible. And then the arms will come around the thighs. Turn the palms to face out so the thumbs are facing up. And then if you can, wrap your hands around the inside of the heel. Bring your forehead even closer to your knees. And if you don't reach your heel, just hold on to whatever you can hold on to. And then lift your hips up. Good. And release. Press into them. Lift your head slowly, keeping your chin to your chest. Very slowly. It's easy to get dizzy when you've been completely inverted. You want to come up slowly and then curl the toes and lift the knees. Keeping the head down. And then we can slowly start to lift the head up. And then come and bring the hands together at the heart, coming into a squat. And then slowly press up, staying on the toes. Bring the arms up. And then slowly staying on the toes, come down, bringing the hands back together at the heart. Coming back. Go with your breath, going up as you inhale, reaching the arms out. And down as you exhale, staying on the toes. Try to keep the knees facing forward. And the next time you come up, stay up. Lower the heels down. Interlace all the fingers except the index fingers, coming into steeple mudra. Lifting tall as you inhale and bending to the left as you exhale. I like to let my head rest on my left arm, but you can see what works for you. Send the hips to the right. Press down into the right foot and maybe use the left hand to pull the right arm longer. Raise up if you can. Breathe slowly and deeply, all the breath in. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, bend the other way. Inhale up. Exhale, release the hands and fold forward with straight legs. Inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Again, inhale, look up. Exhale, down. One more. And then just rest with the body, releasing toward the floor. Push down into your feet. Pull up through your thighs. Pull up with the creases of the tops of the thighs. When you exhale, the belly draws in and up. Good. Now soften your knees and bring your right first two fingers around your right big toe and bring your left hand onto your left hip. And shift your weight into your left foot. Push down into that foot and start to stand up, taking your right foot with you. And then straighten the leg, bring it out to the side. If you can't straighten the leg and continue to hold on to your big toe, you don't need to hold on to your big toe. You can just hold on to the leg. And then if you can, look over your left shoulder. Bring the leg to the front. Bring your right hand onto your right hip. Keep your chest tall and lifted. Slowly lower down. Reach the arms up, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees. Bring the left First two fingers around the left big toe and the right hand onto the right hip. Shift your weight into your right foot. Push down into that foot and come to standing, taking your left foot with you. And then out to the side, whether you're holding on to the big toe or holding on somewhere else. Nice. And then if you can, look over your right shoulder. Bring the leg around to the front. Bring the left hand to the left hip. Hold the leg out. Lift the chest. Slowly lower. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. And then bend the knees all the way and lower onto your buttocks. And bring the arms out in front of you or up if you want to work harder, or maybe on the chest if you want to work a little harder but not quite this hard. And then we'll slowly, with the chin tucked, release down toward the ground. Once you've come down, release the arms out to the sides. Lift the feet. Take a breath in and drop the knees to the left and the head to the right. And the knees, bring the head center. Exhale, drop the knees to the right and the head to the left. We'll do a few more of those. And if you want to work harder, straighten your legs. You don't have to straighten them all the way. The more you straighten them, the harder it is. Turning your head away from your legs. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And the next time the legs come to the left, hold them there. Relax the hips. Relax the head. Breathing slow and deep. Already switched to the other side, please do. And then come center, hug the knees to the chest. And lift your forehead to your knees. Release down. Lift the tailbone, tuck it under. Release the legs and shake the legs out. If you're using an eye pillow, you might want to place that on your eyes now. Let the arms rest out to the side. Take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, releasing the weight of the body into the ground. And then another deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, releasing the jaw, feeling the lips gently part. And then another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, releasing the thoughts, the images, the memories, all the activity of the mind. And releasing the breath. So that the breath just comes, however it will. Letting your attention rest in the feeling of your breath. Just as the body is resting on the ground. Nothing to do. Nothing fixed. Going to be. Just a breath. Staying with each breath. Coming back to it when the mind has wandered. Deeply relaxed. Letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Breathe into your heart. Move your fingers and toes. Reach the arms overhead. Take a deep breath. Stretch long. Hug the knees to the chest and rock from side to side. Feeling the ground, massaging the back. And come center, bring the soles of the feet together, the palms together. Rub hand to hand and foot to foot. And roll over onto your side, resting your head on your underside arm, resting your body on the ground, resting your mind in this moment, whatever it brings. And then slowly make your way up to sitting. Let your head come up last. Sinking down through the sit bones. Lifting tall through the crown of the head. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, the hands together at the heart. Inhale, lift the heart up to the hands. Exhale, shoulder. Inhale deeply, breathing in from bottom to top. Take it all in. Let it all go. Drop the chin to the chest. Namaste. Thank you for your practice.